Oyez! Oyez! They say history can repeat itself, and I believe it does. For standing here in front of you are people from the past. What they say is true and really did occur. So pray silence for Judge Jeffries and his merry men.
And women!
What? Off with her head!
And please, do as you order. Because if you don't, you are sure to be hanged, drawn, and quartered.
Let it be known that in this very place, just 336 years ago, the notorious Judge Jeffries meted out his form of justice in the bloodiest, yes, the bloodiest of all the 7 assize courts of the Monmouth Rebellion. And as if by some amazing time warp arranged by the Wells Civic Society and Wells Little Theatre, we see him here today, accompanied by Jack Ketch the Executioner, and some of his unfortunate rebel prisoners. What's the Monmouth Rebellion, I hear you ask? Well, I shall tell you. When Charles II died in 1685, his brother James II took the throne. But Charles had an illegitimate son, the Duke of Monmouth, and he thought that he and not James should be king. This was a big mistake. Monmouth had many supporters, particularly here in the West Country, where he gathered several thousand, forming his own rebel supporters. He passed through Wells, staying overnight on Cathedral Green, in what is now the music school opposite the cathedral. In need of money, food and provisions, his unruly rebel followers ransacked the cathedral, took lead from the roof to make musket balls, stabled their horses in the nave, and generally behaved very badly indeed. And ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, things did not go well for poor old Monmouth. His aspirations to become king were soundly quashed when he confronted King James' troops down the road at Weston Zoyland, where he was defeated in the Battle of Sedgemoor on July the 6th in the year of our Lord, 1685. Monmouth was captured and taken to the Tower of London, where he was dispatched by the official executioner, our friend here, the notorious and bloody Jack Ketch, with not one, not two, not three, not four, but 5 strikes of the executioner's axe. And Monmouth's misguided followers were rounded up and held prisoner in the cathedral cloisters, the Bishop's Palace, and St. Cuthbert's Church. And that is why we are here today with Judge Jeffries, and I will let him continue this gruesome and bloody but true story.
Thank you, Mr. Auditor. As the highest ranking legal officer in the land, I have been sent by King James II, God bless him, to educate you common people of Wales, and to let it be known that no amount of dissension, no amount of sympathy for the followers of Monmouth will be tolerated. But I'm not a well man, you know. Oh, let me say, oh. I suffer from kidney stones, for which the only medicine I have is this little drop of brandy here, which I find is a splendid way of getting rid of this bodily torment. Now, some people say that this brandy just makes me bad-tempered and irascible. Ha! I say to them, say that to my face, and I shall have you tied to a board and whipped to within an inch of your lives. The Wells, oh Wells. It is the cesspit, a veritable cesspit for dissension and for the followers of Monmouth. Why, yesterday, I, Judge Jeffries, tried, this is absolutely true, more people here in Wells than in any of the other 6 assize courts. So that's more than in Winchester, more than in Salisbury, more than Exeter, more than in Dorchester, more than in Taunton, more than in Bristol, here in Wells. Now you might say, well, I ask you, how many people do you think that was?
10.
10? Huh. How many people? Young man, how many people do you think I tried yesterday? 7? 70? More? 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 More?
1,000.
Less? 542 people I tried here on one day, and quite right, that's a lot of people to try on one day. So clever me, I devised a very quick way of dealing with things. I said, all of you coming before me are guilty. You can, however, if you wish, plead innocent. But if you do plead innocent, and I subsequently find you guilty, I will deal with you in the severest manner possible. Because, I have to tell you, treason is the most heinous of crimes, for which the penalty is... Mr. Ketch, would you read the penalty?
You be drawn on a hurdle to a place of execution, where you should be hung by the neck, being alive cut down. Your privy members shall be cut off and your bowels taken out and burnt before you. Your head shall be severed from your body divided into 4 quarters and disposed of at the king's pleasure.
Thank you, Mr. Ketch. And in anticipation that at least 1 or 2 people might be found guilty, I instructed your mayor here in Wells to, Mr. Ketch, would you read my instruction?
Erect a gallows in the most public of places in your city to hang the rebels on. Provide halters to hang them with, sufficient amount of faggots to burn their bowels of the traitors, and a furnace and cauldron to boil their heads and their quarters, and salt to boil therein, 1/2 bushel for each traitor, and tar to tar them with. Sufficient numbers of spears and poles to fix their heads and quarters, and you're also to provide a cleaver. I don't need an axe, because I've got one!
Thank you, Mr. Ketch. But I'm not without heart. Of the 500 and how many? 42 people, well done. Of the 542 people that were tried yesterday, only 94 are to be executed. 94. And I have to say, what do I have to say? There's 94 to be executed. The rest are going to be sold as white slaves to the plantation owners of the West Indies. They will be sold for around £12 each. The more affluent will have the opportunity of buying their own freedom, which I have to say that I personally would do rather well, so they're going to vote for that. Now then, as I say, I'm not without heart. I mean, take these people here, I mean, these prisons. Boy, what was your crime?
I merely read out aloud the proclamation of the Duke of Monmouth to those that could not read for themselves.
He read out the proclamation of the Duke of Monmouth for those who couldn't read for themselves. Honestly, boy, you should know better. You will be whipped in every market town throughout the county. I should wipe the smile of his face, should you not? And girl, your crime?
My schoolmates and I have been making banners and flags To welcome the Duke of Monmouth to Taunton, sir.
Your schoolmates and you have been making banners and flags to welcome the Duke of Monmouth to Taunton. Well, you and your schoolmates shall be given to the royal household, where you shall work as a skivvy until such time that your parents can raise sufficient funds to buy your freedom. Should we say £2,000? You're lucky to get over your life. You, sir, what's your crime?
So you did say that I shook the hand of the Duke of Monmouth when he arrived in Wells, but it wasn't me, sir. It was somebody else by the same name.
He shook the hand of the Duke of Monmouth, but it wasn't him, it was somebody with the same name. Do we believe him? No! You, sir, shall be hanged, drawn and quartered, yes? But worry not, your bis shall be on display with some 300 other people that I've sentenced to be executed throughout my assize court sessions. 300 people. Now, if I work it out correctly, 300 people is 5 bits per person. There's 4 bits, 4 quarters, and generally most people have got 1 head, so there's 4 quarters, 1, 5. 5 times 300 is about 1,500 body bits will be on display at every market town, at every crossroads, on every bridge, every village green, every thoroughfare, every church, throughout Somerset and the surrounding counties. And on that note, I bid you to be very careful and don't do anything that I wouldn't do. Be pure of heart, be pure of mind, and above all, be loyal to His Majesty the King, King James II. And I ask you now, God save the King!
God save the King!
God save the King!
God save the King!
Thank you. We shall be on our way. We have executions to perform.